a little over 16 points a game. He did not see action against the Wildcats back in December, so it'll be fun to keep our eye on him. And in fact, he's guarding Troyer now closely. Troyer gets around him. Widener takes a shot just in front of the free throw line. No good. Rebounded by number 32, Zach Zeltman. The ball is fed nicely into number 22, Austin Semple, for a very fast first basket for the Cougars. Troyer now back on offense, setting up things for the Wildcats. Ball is into Hopkins, who kicks it back outside. We'll have to keep an eye on how energetic this team is. Their energy against Grace the other night was just outstanding.
Especially in the first half, Mark. They came out strong.
Troyer takes a shot. It's no good. So the Wildcats start off 0-2 in the first two possessions. And so Taylor now setting up the play, getting things moving.
IW has the height advantage on this Cougar team. See if they can take advantage of that right here with Jordan Widener.
Tossing forward to George Jones, the fourth, for a nice, easy layup. Well-timed observation, Chase, because I think it was the height advantage of the Wildcats that forced that turnover. Taylor now on the right side, coming over to the center, handing off to Zaglebny, who is from Kazakhstan. Actually played on the Kazakhstan junior team.
Oh. Almaty, Kazakhstan. So I think we're going to say his name more than once tonight. So Daniil Zaglebny, keep your eye on him.
Troyer coming over to the right-hand side, giving it to Widener, and he tries to get it to Hopkins, who loses control of it. Widener was immediately double-teamed, actually I think triple-teamed on that, which left Hopkins wide open, but unfortunately just not able to hold on to it. Wildcats applying a little bit of pressure here early on. Nothing real significant. They're backing off now. George Jones, though, continuing to guard Taylor. And another steal, Troyer. Very nice, straight to the basket.
Nice play by the senior, recognizing that the ball pressure was going to cause them problems, and I think they're going to do that all afternoon. Full court pressure, as you see here with George Jones.
George getting a little turned around, however, no harm on that. Taylor tossing the left-hand side to Semple. Driving straight to the basket is number 23, Matt Angel. Basket is called off, and the foul is charged to number 44, Jordan Widener. Angel now coming off, taking a rest. He's replaced by number 21, Ben Severns, who is one of the leading scorers for the Cougars. So Klebny over there, guarded closely by Jones. Taylor driving. Nice shot, just a little bit too much on it. Troyer had Widener wide open and just threw a little too hard. And that is the second turnover is in many possessions for the Wildcats. Getting a little too anxious. They've got the wide open plays and they're missing.
Mark, IW definitely the more physical team. Seems like the Cougars are going to have to take a lot of outside shots, and in order for them to stay in this game, they're going to have to knock some of them down. We've already seen some careless turnovers early in the start.
So 2 turnovers, one by the Cougars and one by the Wildcats. And Indiana Wesleyan gets possession. Aaron Martin driving, feeds it to Hopkins. Hopkins gets his own rebound and gets it. Hopkins was a little off balance when he first did the first shot, but he was able to keep the position.
First 2 points for the junior Hopkins, and I think he's got to have a heyday today down there with Zeltman. They're going to have to, and Zaklebny, they're going to have to really pressure him, maybe double team him down in the post.
Zaklebny getting around, leaving his shot short. Widener coming up the rebound, pressing down for the Wildcats. George Jones wide open. Nice layup. One of the things that the Cougars are going to have to do is they are leaving a lot of open lane shots for the Wildcats, which, as you said, Patrick Hopkins and some of the other guys are going to have a heyday if they continue to leave that open.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of cracks in that defense with the Cougars.
Taylor, nice shot. George Jones now coming down, hands it off to Martin. Oh, he was going to go for his first three-point attempt. We always like to see Aaron Martin get in rhythm for his three-point shot right away.
Yep, early in the game, if he gets the tempo and gets going, he can be pretty lethal from behind the arc.
That foul was charged to number 32, Zach Zeltman. And there's a timeout. We'll be back. You're watching Wildcat Basketball on WIW TV 51.
I come prepared. I'm going to play tough.
I always play hard.
I never back down.
We are in this together.
These are my brothers.
This is my family.
Their knees before mine.
I am third.
This is IWU.
This is our school. This is our team. Our pride.
Our home.
It's game time.
And welcome back to Lucky Arena on the campus of Indiana Wesleyan University. It's the Wildcats hosting the Cougars at Mount Vernon Nazarene. One of the things we haven't mentioned, Chase, is if you're not sure where that school is located, it's located in Mount Vernon, Ohio. Actually, not far where you've grown up.
Yep. Played against some of these guys in high school, so Mount Vernon, a nice little school, and like you said, they're getting more recognition when it comes to athletics. In the MCC, they formerly played in the American Mid-Central Conference. Cedarville, and along with a couple other teams, used to play in that, but that's kind of been broken up here. So they're in the MCC, and they like where they're at right now, although struggling kind of with a 3-8 record.
Taylor Schoen and David Peters are now in for the Wildcats. 20 seconds left on the shot clock as George Jones drives to the center, and he's going to pick up a foul, or he will be fouled. And that foul is going to go against Daniil Zaklebny. That is his first, team second. George will go to the line. George has struggled a bit of late at the line, so let's hope he gets on track this afternoon, and that's a good way to start the game. You can see in the replay George going through, and almost impossible not to get fouled on a play like that. And George starts off this game well, 2 for 2 at the free throw line.
Always good to see that from George when he gets it all the way up in the rim. He's struggling on leaving him short a little bit this season, but he gets it going here for the junior with a couple points already, 6 on the afternoon.
One more.
Semple having a wide open three-pointer, and it's good. Troyer getting the ball into Stauffer, who's now in the game. He kicks it back out to Jones. Over to Stauffer. Pulls up, takes a jumper, no good.
Just enough pressure there with a hand up. I believe that was Angel, and knocked off Stauffer's shot, really deflected that.
Come on, Marsh.
Taylor now trying to get things set up as he has the ball dribbling over to the left-hand side.
Kick back.
Almost intercepted by George Jones. Three-pointer, good for Semple. That is his second three-pointer in a row, and with that now, the game is all tied, 10 points apiece.
Like you said, not a lot of inside presence. I don't believe that ball went inside the paint on that last possession for the Cougars, but if they can knock those threes down, they can stay in this game. Tie ball game.
Parker Stauffer on the inside having a little trouble. He dishes back to Jones, who drives. George has obviously seen some wide open opportunities. I don't think we have seen him drive this much to the basket, at least this early in the game.
I think that's more confidence than anything with George. If he sees the cracks and if he sees different things that the defense is giving him, he's really got to take advantage of that, and he's done so far. And 6 points for him, make it 7 here on the next one, hopefully.
You can see the replay where he's coming in, getting fouled. Zaklebny, by the way, number 10, that he was charged with the foul. That is his second, the team third. George missing his first free throw and makes the second. So 3 for 4 at the free throw line for George, and a total of 7 points in this game. Wildcats now showing a little bit of pressure as the Cougars are getting ready to inbound the ball. DJ Bettinger in now for the Wildcats. Taylor bringing the ball down, guarded closely by David Peters.
Go through, stop!
Taylor not liking what he's seen, so he's holding on the ball, and he gets it over to Severns. Severns drives, pulls up, and makes it. And now the Cougars have a lead, 12-11 in this game. Peters directing traffic. Widener out on the right-hand side. He tries to drive to the lane, pulls up jumper, leaving it short. Rebound by Angel.
A little bit of a fadeaway there for Widener, I believe. That's why it came up short.
Semple trying to drive to the lane, the big guy. Sophomore forward, 6'4", from Columbus, Ohio. He's got a little bit of body control. He's putting the ball on the floor there, and he got fouled. Foul was committed by number 10, David Peters, his first, team second. Semple is their leading free throw shooter. You can see him now as he was driving, and yet he got David Peters off balance. Semple is shooting 87% from the free throw line.
Yes, sir.
And he makes them both. 14-11 now, the Cougars. Once again, we're seeing from the Wildcats kind of getting into a little bit of a funk here. And now turning the ball over. DJ Bettinger.
You see him look right back at the coaching staff on the sideline there, said, what was that about? Looks like he flipped the wrist a little farther, and he got called for the carry. The freshman's been so good at the assist-to-turnover ratio this year. Last game against Grace, he was 3 for 4 from three land. Just really an efficient player, so kind of a costly turnover there, but he'll bounce back.
And Severns taking the three-point. Doesn't make the shot, but gets fouled by Aaron Martin. That's Martin's first, the third team foul. Jones is getting ready to check back in for the Wildcats. So Ben Severns, averaging 10 points a game, is going to the line. So the momentum has definitely shifted here in the last 3-4 minutes of gameplay. And he makes his first.
I think it's safe to say that the Wildcats have not come out with as much intensity as they did against Grace the other night. In that first half, they were just firing on all cylinders, it seemed like. This afternoon, a little sluggish of a start, but still, it seems like they've got the opportunities, just have to finish inside and really take advantage of the height under the basket.
Severns, of course, will be shooting 3 free throws because that was a 3-point attempt. Yeah, Chase, it has become obvious frustrating as this team is trying to figure out, it seems to be when they keep moving the ball quickly and are playing with high energy, good things happen. When they start to slow it up a little bit, they just don't have the shooters to be able to run it at a slower tempo and then pull the trigger.
Got to get an inside-out game with Patrick Hopkins and hopefully get Aaron Martin rolling here. And DJ Bettinger has shown that he can hit him from the outside as well.
Widener's in, Hopkins is in, Martin is in, and Jones of the original starting 5. DJ Bettinger is still in, off the bench. And we're going to get a foul here, charged on number 2, Marshall Crum. We're not in the bonus yet, only 4 team fouls, so we will get the ball back in with a fresh 35-second shot clock. George Jones trying to see if he can get any open lane there. Cougars have, and Aaron Martin shoots a three, so we get him going. Cougars have done a good job of closing the inside, whereas with the beginning we had a lot of open stuff there. We have been keeping the ball outside and aren't finding quite the openings even to get the ball into Hopkins. Taylor pulling up. Ball bounces around. Hopkins comes down with the rebound, hands it off to Bettinger. Bettinger coming around to Widener. Nothing open for Hopkins. DJ Bettinger's trying to get it to him, gets it to him. Hopkins puts it on the floor, gets his own rebound, and will get fouled.
See Coach Matt Moore for the Cougars a little upset. He thought that Marshall Crum was getting kind of beat up down there with Patrick Hopkins. Hopkins really moves his body well. You're allowed to be physical down there in the paint as long as you don't push and use your arms too much, but there he clearly got slapped by Robbie Taylor.
That is Taylor's first, team fifth. Patrick leaves his first free throw short.
Didn't look good from the start on that shot. He needs to have more confidence in his shooting when he gets that. He's had some games where he shot, 7 of 8, 7 of 9 from the free throw line, but then, the next game he'll show up and put up 1 or 2 made. But really, confidence is key for this team for the full 40 minutes, and that's where we've run into some problems and really getting the tempo going early and sustaining that throughout the whole game.
When the Wildcats went to Mount Vernon back at the beginning of December, we were down by 7 in the first half and then outscored them by 12. And so perhaps that is just the way we play this team, but you would certainly like to see them go out much, much stronger here in the first half. Aaron Martin just charged with the foul. That is his second, so he's going to take a seat. And number 32, Zach Vandewater, now is coming in. So you can see he just didn't have, on the replay, he was moving, didn't have the position. That's going to get you every time. Semple driving around, missing his shot. And Vandewater coming up with the interception. He tosses it over to Jones. And Jones is going to get charged with the travel.
Wildcats did not look comfortable at all in that possession. Vandewater was dribbling that around his waist, just didn't quite have control. And then George Jones as well. Obviously didn't have possession, moved his feet before he passed that off. So a little sloppy here in the early going.
So I think we're going to see when we take a look at the halftime stats that turnovers are way too high for the Wildcats. And in fact, the other night, even in their game against Grace, they ended up, I believe, with 18 turnovers to 14 for Grace. Inside pass to Zaklebny, blocked by Hopkins. And now here comes the Wildcats in the other direction. George Jones jumping up. He will get fouled. And that foul is charged on number 32, Zach Zeltman. That is his second, team sixth. So we're just one more foul away from the bonus. So George is 3 for 4 from the free throw line here this afternoon. I think that 3 for 5, and that's what we've seen from him before. He leaves those things short. And
he just doesn't get the knee. Just watch his knees, his lower body. It just seems like he doesn't quite get enough power on that shot. That time he just gets it up there.
And you can see by the way his follow through that he knew he was kind of willing it forward.
Please, ball, go in.
So 4 for 6 from the free throw line for George. George guarding Taylor closely. Semple here, a couple of long three-pointers, this time no good. It's tipped by number 32, Zeltman. Goes out of bounds on Zeltman, and the Wildcats will get the ball.
Like you said, Mark, the Cougars really packing it in inside on defense and forcing the Wildcats to make some outside shots, and we haven't done so very effectively. Got to the line a couple times with Jones and Hopkins, but we'll see what they do here with the offensive set in the half court.
Wildcats still down, now only by 1. I wouldn't really call this a run, but we are coming back from a 6-point deficit. Both teams are playing ugly at this point. However, very nice reverse layup by Vandewater. That's the kind of play that if it can get us going, that would be a wonderful thing.
It seems like someone's always stepping up when it comes to the Wildcats team. A different player maybe every game. We've seen some consistent ones with Hopkins and as well as Jordan Widener. It seems like they show up every game, but a couple players have to step up differently every game, and there's another costly turnover.
Just when we get a turnover, then we toss it away.
Yep.
And so the Cougars have just called the timeout, a full timeout. Coach isn't liking what he's seen, and we'll be back. You're watching Wildcat basketball on WIW TV 51.
Third House Sessions brings constituents and their representatives together for a town hall forum to talk about the state issues that matter most to you. WIWU-TV, along with the Chamber, Indiana Michigan Power, and Farm Bureau Insurance are proud to bring the Grand County community this important local event. Third House Sessions is on all this week on WIWU-TV 51, your community station.
Welcome back to Lucky Arena. 9:21 remaining here in the first half. 18-17 is the score, with the Wildcats currently on a 7-0 run. And I am using that terminology loosely, Chase, because you think of runs, you think kind of up-tempo, fast-paced, but this in the last, couple of minutes, it has just been ugly for both teams, a slow grinding it out. A lot of turnovers, a lot of missed shots. But there are no points awarded for style. The bottom line is the Wildcats have the lead, and that's the good thing. Vandewater continues to be in for Aaron Martin, who's on the bench with 2 fouls.
See the Cougars kind of playing a loose zone, 2-3, but pressuring the ball on the outside.
And that has certainly helped to prevent Wildcats getting 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Troyer pulling up. He gets really a nice-looking shot. But again, we have seen that when the Wildcats go into that kind of an offensive set, it rarely do we come away scoring. Zaklebny down low. Hopkins guarding him. And we're going to get a travel. He left his feet.
For the Wildcats, number 24, Parker Stauffer.
So Hopkins now is taking a rest. Stauffer in to replace him. Wildcats on offense are just not getting the ball to the inside to either Hopkins or Stauffer. So this loose 2-3 zone seems to be working for the Cougars.
Hard to create your own shot on the perimeter a lot of times, and off, one or two dribbles to your right or left and pull up shot is a harder shot than you think.
Vandewater, and they gave him the 3. I wasn't quite sure. He was awfully close to the line, but we'll take it.
Not traditionally a three-point shooter is Vandewater, but he has 5 points here for the freshman.
He has come in and provided a spark off the bench. And as you mentioned, Chase, that has been one of the great things about this team is how our bench play is deep. Angels still trying to do something with the ball. Gets it back out to Severns. 7 seconds left on the shot clock. And good pursuit on the part of Derek Troyer. He gets Severns to turn the ball over, and so now the Wildcats will be bringing the ball in. So the score was 17-11 Cougars, and now on a 10-0 run for the Wildcats. And George Jones is going to get called on a lane violation.
Kind of camping out under there, but more full court pressure here from the Wildcats. Seems like it's kind of took the Cougars out of their game a bit and just kept them honest a little bit full court wise.
The ball is brought down, though, very quickly by Semple, so they broke the full court press. And now Severin's out at the top of the key. Troyer guarding him, and he's getting ready to set some things up. Great job of defense by Troyer.
Seems like every possession he really sets the tone on defense.
And Troyer tipping the ball, and that results in a turnover for the Wildcats. Troyer wanting to throw it, and unfortunately, his last two shots, he's had really good looks in the basket, and he just hasn't gotten them to drop.
Quite hadn't had his feet set, and that's big for this team, but it's a drop nonetheless, 4-point lead.
Mount Vernon has just called a timeout. You can see now we've got some stats here. 60% field goal shooting percentage for the Wildcats as opposed to 40.
So better than last game when we played the Cougars, right? With 34% for the game, but eke that one out, and hopefully they can keep this lead in the first half. It seems like if we get a lead at half, I mean, it's going to bode well. Coach Chanago knows how to go into halftime, and if you're knocking down free throws, that helps too, right, Mark?
Yeah, it really does. You know, we've talked about it quite a bit this season, and almost too much, but our free throw shooting has really been abysmal this season. And we're around a 63-64% free throw shooting team, and it's amazing we have done as well as we have with that kind of free throw shooting percentage.
Like I said, 5-9 since the last time we played this Cougar team. Hopefully we'll be back in the rankings if they can pull this one out today. Obviously a win against number 4 team in the country, Grace. So this will be 2 quality wins, MCC wins this week if they can pull this one off this afternoon.
Semple almost turning the ball over. An awfully high dribble. Nice feed to Taylor. And he makes it and will be fouled. Or not will be, was fouled. And Vanderwater committing that foul. You can see he just, that was a great feed to Taylor from Semple. And he was wide open. One of those where probably best just to let him go. There's no way you're going to stop him when he's got that kind of position.
Yep.
Taylor misses the free throw. Widener bringing the ball up now for the Wildcats. 6:10 remaining in this game. Peters now in the game for the Wildcats. Widener, nice three-point shot, no good, leaves it short. Severin's now bringing the ball up. Taylor on Peters. The ball is bounced over to Semple, and the shot is missed. Peters getting the ball over to Widener, who tosses cross court to Troyer, who drives, leaves the ball short. And there's going to be a turnover. Semple just about did the same thing on his last possession, and this time he got caught. And Coach Tanago calling a timeout for the Wildcats. 5:24 remaining in this first half. The Wildcats have a 2-point lead. In their first matchup back in December, Wildcats only scored 24 points in the first half. I would like to think we're doing a little bit better here, but at the rate these last 5-6 minutes have gone, we could see a very similar kind of score for the Wildcats.
Interesting. You saw the stats a moment ago. We were 60% from the field. You say, why do we have 21 points with 5 minutes left? Because we had turned the ball over and not got as many shot attempts. So we're not shooting so bad, but man, we got to clean it up on offense a little bit. And defensively, I think we're holding our own, only allowing 19 points for the Cougars. See some scores up here in the top left corner, Mark.
Yeah, Taylor with a 1-point lead over Bethel. Grace with an 8-point lead over Huntington. About a minute and a half remaining in the first half. We'll have some more opportunity throughout the game to talk about those standings with
it's
five teams now tied for second. DJ Bettinger in. Gets the ball over to Peters. Peters holds on to it a little bit too long. The ball is tossed back. Also in now is Tyler Greathouse. We've not seen him. We saw him a lot in the first 7 home games of the season, and then we really haven't seen him a whole lot.
It'd be nice to get him going. Obviously, the freshman adds a lot of size underneath, 6'9" from Columbus, Indiana. So with him and Hopkins adds a nice little presence inside under the basket.
Severn's being guarded closely by Bettinger. Gets it over to Taylor. Taylor pulls up, no good. Rebounded very easily by Widener. Gets it into Hopkins, which we have not seen for quite a few minutes. Hopkins kind of has an off-balance shot.
Yeah. When they have got into Hopkins, he hasn't got quality looks, obviously fading away, one-handed kind of floater. That's not the high percentage. If you're getting it inside, you want a high percentage look, and Hopkins only 3 points on the afternoon.
Now the ref has stopped play, and he's just adjusting what should be on the shot clock, 31 seconds, and so it is adjusted, and they will resume play. You know, whatever the Cougars did defensively to change things has really worked, because in the first 2 to 3 minutes, that near the basket was just wide open, and they have really clamped down on things defensively.
Yeah, they slowed the pace down too, which is to their advantage, especially on the road.
And we're going to get another travel call. Zach Zeltman. I don't recall any games recently. I think we've had at least 3 travel calls here this afternoon, and I don't recall that we've seen that in a while.
Right. Thinking ahead, you know, you got to catch the ball first and get possession, get your feet set, and some of the little things that kind of bit the Wildcats in these last couple games.
Widener tossing it over to Hopkins. Fortunately gets it in. Hopkins gets the shot but misses and is fouled by number 32, Zeltman. That is now his 3rd, so I think that'll be it for him in this first half. Coach Moore immediately has sent in a couple of guys to check in. Looks like Semple will be coming back in. Here you can see the pass, which probably wasn't the best of passes, but nevertheless, they got it to Patrick. And then he takes a step in and just misses that shot. So Patrick makes his 2nd, and it is a 22-19 game. This is Josh Weichert, number 4. He's been in for a little while. We've not called his name or number at all. Taylor hands the ball to Crum, to Weichert, back to Taylor. They've got a little bit of a small lineup in at the moment, but Semple, who's not afraid to drive to the basket, has a nice drive and makes the basket.
Boy, the sophomore from Zeeland, Michigan has 12 points for the Cougars, more than half, so really keeping them in this ball game.
Greathouse with a 3, a good look and a good-looking shot. It just bounces around and misses.
Now waiting for the Wildcats, number 23, Garrett Troyer. And number 34,
Troyer and Jones are now checking in for the Wildcats. And again, the Wildcats applying some full-court pressure. And the Cougars get by it with no problem. Severns runs all the way to the court and gets off kind of an awkward-looking shot, misses. Troyer trying to get it to George, and George isn't looking.
Boy.
So Taylor brings the ball back up. A little under 3 minutes left in the game. Peters falls down, leaving an opening for Taylor. They shut it down right away. Severns takes a shot, gets knocked over, but no foul. So Taylor setting up his offense now, and they're getting themselves all adjusted. The ball is sent over to Semple. He's driving in on Jones. Gets an off-balance shot off. Crum with the rebound and the miss. Patrick Hopkins comes up with it, gets it to Troyer. Greathouse, another 3 and another miss. Hopkins with the rebound, nobody there to help him. He keeps the ball on the floor.
Wow.
We're going to get a little
acting, you think?
Yeah. And that foul goes against number 4, Josh Weichert. That's his 1st. So we are in the bonus. It's the 8th team foul. Greathouse going to take a seat, and Vandewater back in.
Although Greathouse goes out, I really like the initiative he's taken. You know, not hesitating on offense. It took a couple of long range shots and almost dropped a couple. But, you know, if you come into the game and you're not hesitating, that's a plus for a freshman.
You can see the Wildcats are just kind of standing around on the floor so that when Patrick gets the rebound, he really doesn't have anybody to throw it to, and so he decides to keep it. And the good news is he's fouled, but missed that second shot.
Peter's doing a nice job.
Yeah, he is. No problem. Weichert now guarded closely by Patrick. Taylor gets the ball. Severns with a three. No good. Patrick Hopkins with the rebound. George Jones is open under the basket. He feeds it to him, but the pass was really too late. George was there much, much sooner. George a little slow to get up. He took out a cheerleader.
Looks like Kate Burkhardt over there, one of our cheerleaders. She was pretty good, bouncing right back up, though.
Yeah, she actually got up faster than George did, so.
George gave her a high five. She's good to go.
All right, turnover. Troyer is able to get that pass intended for Semple. Oh, and he slips, tries to get it into Jones, and it is rebounded by Weichert, and then he wisely calls a timeout. There is just continuing to be a lot of sloppy play for both teams, but more so for the Wildcats. They're rushing, and we've seen this at other times this season. They just have mental lapses. The play where they came down the court and tossed it to George, and he wasn't even paying attention. That inbounds play, while we got the ball back, the turnover was not the result of us being great defense as much as they left the pass short. So, minute 41 remaining in this half. Coach Chonigal is kind of, no doubt, will get in the face of this team.
Yeah.
You know, just a few minutes ago, with about 5 minutes remaining, I said it wouldn't surprise me if we got around 24 like we did the first time we played this team, and here we are with a minute 41, and we're at 23 points.
You got to give credit to Coach Moore for the Cougars and limiting this Wildcat offense. He knows how to shut them down, and it's got to be a grinded-out win, I think, the whole afternoon.
Severns now bringing the ball down for the Cougars. He gets it over to Angel, who's back in for the Cougars. Taylor drives, off-balance shot, misses it. Unfortunately, Hopkins can't come down with it, and Taylor gets it back. This time he makes the shot and gets fouled. And that foul is called on number 10, David Peters. That is his second. And here's the replay of this.
See, I don't necessarily agree with that when referees just assume or predict the foul is going to be called and driving through the lane. And I think Peters had his hands up, but more times than not, if you're the offensive player, you're attacking, they're going to call it. But
and I didn't see a whole lot of contact either on that replay. I'm sure the angle we had was problematic, and Taylor is able to convert the three-point play, and so now they have a lead, 24-23. Jones trying to drive. He kicks it out to Troyer for three. No good. Hopkins with the rebound. Nobody has come to his aid. He finally gets it out to Widener. Back over to Vandewater, who puts it on the floor, gives it to Jones, under the basket, and he gets fouled. That foul is going to be called on number 4, Weichert. That's his second.
At the line for the Wildcats shooting two, George Jones, the 4.
Jones has certainly gotten to the free throw line a number of times, at least 6 times by my accounting here this afternoon. And that one, he just didn't get much of a arc on the ball at all. And you can see Vandewater, who dishes it to Jones, and it collapsed really fast, and Weichert earned the foul. I'm afraid George has gotten into his little free throw slump already in this game. Those last 2 free throws really looking ugly.
Yeah, didn't seem too confident on those.
.30 seconds now remaining in the half. Shot clock is still on. There's about a 14-second difference. They're going to hold on to it, though. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Angel pulling up. And he gets it.
Nice baseline jumper there from the sophomore. Jordan Widener kind of flopped a little bit on defense, and they made him pay. 7 seconds left now.
Troyer drives, and they're going to call that a defensive charge.
I think more importantly, that does a little bit for the Wildcats in deferring that momentum, because the Cougars had some going, and if they would have been a charge called there, the Cougars would have at least had a 3-point lead going into this half. 4 seconds now. The Wildcats hopefully can cut it to 1, but boy, this is, you look at this, they're going to be leading at halftime.
Yeah, Troyer is going to have 2 free throws, but he misses the first. And you can see the replay here as coaching staff wanted that to go against Troyer, but clearly Weichert was off of, was moving and up in the air. So 4 seconds to go. Troyer with one more shot. Down by 3. And continues down by 3. Patrick Hopkins, I think, is going to get charged with the foul. Yeah, and that is the case. So that probably is the worst thing that could happen. You get a foul, and then because of the bonus, they'll go to the line and they will shoot a one-on-one. With the opportunity to increase this lead by 2 more points with 3 seconds to go. So the last 5 minutes of this first half have just been very, very ugly for the Wildcats. In fact, I'm not sure that they've scored much beyond 2 points in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, we had 21 for a while. Now we have 23, but like you said, Mark, pretty sloppy back and forth. You got some stops on defense, but just haven't been able to convert on the offensive end.
So this is number 10, Daniil Zaklebny from Kazakhstan. He makes the first. We'll talk a little bit about MCC tournament, even though we're about 3 weeks away, 3 to 4 weeks away. Right now, as we look at the standings, it's really important to talk about that tournament play, especially when we're playing so poorly today against the last place team. So 5 points is the difference now. Tyler Greathouse in for the Wildcats, and he'll be inbounding the ball. We'll see if we're able to get off the shot here with 3 seconds to go. And the pass is intercepted by Taylor, who takes the shot. And so that is going to end a really ugly first half. The reason this is important is because we now have 10 teams in the conference, we get 2 automatic bids into the NAIA championships. They will take, the 2 bids will go to the regular season champion and the conference champion. Right. So I don't think we're going to catch Grace.
No.
And so our hope is getting into a tournament and winning that tournament, which will give us one of the 2 automatic bids.
Of course, if the same team wins the regular season championship as the tournament championship, they take the second best record, I do believe. So like
That's
you said,
right.
It's kind of a fight down the stretch in the MCC.
Semple starting off our scoring attempts this afternoon. He misses the shot. Wildcats get the ball back. Aaron Martin trying to drive on the inside. He gets tripped up by number 23, Matt Angel. And in fact, Angel will be charged with the foul. That is his first foul and the first team foul. Wildcats will bring the ball back inbounds with a fresh 35-second shot clock. Jones's pass, not the best, but Troyer comes down with it. Jordan Winder getting the ball into Hopkins, who's not quite as far underneath the basket as he normally would like to be. And again, Wildcats having just a horrible time trying to get the ball inside to Hopkins.
Just not able to find him. They're rotating 2 men on him, number 10, Zaklebny, as well as Angel and Semple. So it's really hard for Patrick Hopkins to get in the groove, and he's getting frustrated out there. I think that's what Coach Moore is wanting, though, and he's doing a great job of containing him.
So 25 seconds left on the shot clock. Robbie Taylor will inbound the ball for the Cougars. He gets it to number 21, Ben Severns, who starts here in the second half. He did not start the beginning of the game. And Hopkins comes down with it. Has it temporarily batted away, but he was able to retain possession. So Troyer comes down. No points have been scored here in the first little over a minute in the game. Into Hopkins now. Zaklebny on him, but Hopkins able to get good position, and that obviously is what we need to do more of.
Like you said, caught the ball lower down under the paint there and made him pay, although kind of an uncharacteristic hook shot almost, but still, if you catch the ball closer to the basket, Patrick Hopkins does a much more effective job.
Semple driving over to the middle of the court, back over to Severns. Zaklebny trying to set a pick. And then Severns from NBA three-point range makes it.
He didn't hesitate either. He knew he was going to shoot that shot. I thought it looked like the shot clock was winding down, but it wasn't. He just was in the groove and dialed that baby up.
Aaron Martin now dribbling over the left-hand side. Troyer takes possession. Troyer giving it to Jones, who's got a little bit of an open lane, but he tosses it out to Martin where he likes to shoot. Jones and Hopkins fighting for the ball, and in the process, neither of them comes up with it, and Mt Vernon is now coming back on possession. Severns driving around. They're taking their time, slowing the ball movement down. Ball comes inside to Zaklebny. He dribbles around. Hopkins doing a nice job. However, backdoor pass to number 23, Angel. Very, very nice.
You got to love that possession if you're a Cougar. Down to 2 seconds. The shot clock on the other end, though. George Jones. Quick turnaround. That's what the Wildcats have to do if they're going to get down. Quick turnarounds, get the outlet pass, and go, and they did so there.
George is fouled by number 22, Austin Semple. That is his first, and that is the team's second. So Jones has the opportunity to make this a three-point play, and he leaves that short. Taylor now getting things all set up for the Cougars, holding everybody off, calling the play. Ball goes over to Semple. They get it inside. Nice feed from Semple to Angel. And so far on offense, the Cougars are looking very good here in this second half with an 8-point advantage.
They're just making the game their own almost, slowing down methodically the pace, and Angel has 6 points now, 2 nice baskets in a row for him.
DJ Bettinger in for Troyer, who's taking a rest. Aaron Martin driving to the lane. He misses. Hopkins misses, and we come up with nothing on that possession. Taylor pushes the tempo, drives, feeds it to Semple, and not surprisingly, Coach Tonegal has just called a timeout. 10-point advantage for the Cougars of Mt Vernon, 37-27, 16:25 remaining in this game. You can see 9 of 25 from the field, 36%. Both teams are shooting horribly, Chase.
Yeah. It's just been a sloppy game, like we talked about, but last couple minutes, the Cougars have certainly stepped up that tempo, and boy, it just seems like Wildcats cannot get in a rhythm, and that's getting frustrating for this team, frustrating for the coaching staff, and it seems like they almost get down on themselves. Like when they're out on the court right now, you can't put your head down. You got to get right back out there. In a 10-point game, tons and tons of time left, but it's just, you got to put the building blocks together and start a run, and there hadn't been many quick runs back and forth in this game.
We've gone to the free throw line 17 times in this game. This game should be tied just on free throws.
Yep, no question.
DJ Bettinger then running the offense now for the Wildcats. Getting the ball to Martin. Back to Jones, to Martin. He pulls up, leaves it short. He gets the rebound, and then brings it right back up and in. And that is the kind of energy and aggression that we need to see more of here in this second half. Down by 8 now, and we desperately need a defensive stop on this play. Taylor getting everything ready to go. Cougar is not afraid to take their time as they set things up.
You hate to say they're running out the clock because there's 15 minutes left to play, but in a sense, I mean, they got a 8-point lead. They're going to try to milk that as long as they can.
But they're doing a nice job of seeing the open man. Severns pulls up inside the three-point, and he is really shooting well here in the second half.
Set his feet, and he knocked it down. 10 points for Severns.
And in fact, that is what Severns is averaging on the season, 10 points a game. Widener driving to the lane. Oh, and he's going to get fouled. Well, that's good because it looked like he was going to
bailed out a little bit.
And that foul is called on number 10, Daniil Zaklebny. That is his third. He's a big body on the inside, and so that should prove to be helpful for the Wildcats.
Looks like they're going to have to bring in Zach Zeltman again. He has 3 fouls. Of course, we remember that in the first half, but he's going to have to come in with Zaklebny 3 as well.
You can see Jordan Widener going up, and just because Zaklebny was moving, I think is where that foul was charged. Widener, the best free throw shooter for the Wildcats, shooting 78%. And he made 1 of 2 from there. And a nice rebound by George Jones. And then a foul on the part of the Cougars.
Cougar foul number 1, Robbie Taylor.
Robbie Taylor charged with a foul. That is his second. The team third. And there's an official's timeout with 15 minutes remaining in the first half. We'll take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Wildcat Basketball on WIW TV 51.
This week on Crossroads, see why more students are graduating at Marion High School.
We'll get a lesson in smoke detector safety from the Marion Fire Department.
And see how upward basketball is impacting kids. I'm Molly Meyer.
And I'm Randall King. All that and more this week on Crossroads.
Telesale is coming with a new look and a new date, January 31st through February 2nd, only on WIWU TV. Third House Sessions brings constituents and their representatives together for a town hall forum to talk about the state issues that matter most to you. WIWU TV, along with the Chamber, Indiana Michigan Power, and Farm Bureau Insurance are proud to bring the Grand County community this important local event. Third House Sessions is on all this week on WIWU TV 51, your community station.
Welcome back to Lucky Arena. 15:03 remaining in this game. Wildcats down by 9, 39-30. And the Wildcats will be inbounding the ball off of the foul on Zaklebny, or actually on Robbie Taylor, I think. DJ Bettinger getting the ball now for the Wildcats. He gets it into Parker Stauffer. Mismatch there in terms of height. Number 32, who picked up the foul, Zeltman. That's going to be his fourth.
He's going to come right back out, too. He's only in there for about a minute. But he's got to take a seat. And Zaklebny as well has to watch it out there. He has 3 fouls with just about 15 minutes left to play. See if the Wildcats can take advantage of that.
Widener looking to get it inbounds, having a tough time. It gets knocked out of bounds. So Widener will try it again. No time off the shot clock. Bettinger on the left-hand side, getting into Martin. And Bettinger now dribbling over to the right-hand side. Everything shifts over there as George Jones drives. Oh, and he is going to be, he will be charged with a foul. He had it wide open, but of course so did the defender, had the opportunity to stand his ground. And George gets charged with charging. You can see Semple has the time just to set his feet.
Might have had a little bit of feet moving, but tippy toes were touching on the ground there, so that's what they called. And George Jones now with just his first.
So Mount Vernon now back on offense. 15 seconds remaining in the shot clock as they take their time. Parker Stauffer coming out. Zaklebny now for 3, and it misses. Rebound by Jones. Widener driving in and choosing to pull up and kick it back out. Now DJ Bettinger setting things back up. He dribbles over the right-hand side, back to Widener, into Stauffer, and he deftly gets around Zaklebny.
What we need to see more of is what we saw right there with Parker Stauffer, just lowering his shoulder, did not out of control, and made him pay.
Zaklebny pulling down the ball like he was carrying a football. And then Parker Stauffer, because he was moving, he gets charged with a foul. That's his first, team second. And unfortunately, Zaklebny was in the act of shooting. And he misses that first free throw. So we got a bunch of substitutions in for actually both teams. Peters is in, Troyer is back in. We've got Stauffer and Vandewater in now. And Zaklebny makes his second free throw. 40-32 is the game score. And Derek Troyer bringing the ball back up. The deficit at halftime was 5. Cougars went on a little bit of a run early in the first half, and then the Wildcats have just not been able to whittle that lead down. Both teams now kind of in a stalemate in terms of not exchanging a whole lot of shots. Troyer pulls up, and nice tip back in.
Followed his shot again. The Wildcats, that's bode well for them. Last couple of possessions in this half, following your shot, getting second chance opportunities, and cutting this game to 6.
And unfortunately, they had let the shot clock get down, so the Troyer shot with about 3 seconds left. That's Marshall Crum getting the basket for the Cougars. Widener now getting things set. Tosses it to Peters. Comes over to the left-hand side of the court. Back to Troyer. Peters thinking about taking a shot. He goes in, pulls it out to Widener for 3. Yes! Widener, when he has the time, has a wonderful arc on that three-point shot.
Yeah, it's a thing of beauty when it goes in. Only 4 points for Widener. We'll see if that can get him going.
So just like that, we've cut the lead to 5. We need a defensive stop here. Crum almost losing it as Stauffer is giving him tight coverage. Severn's driving around. He lifts it up. No good. Stauffer with the rebound, and here come the Wildcats hoping to get that lead even less, and Widener does the job.
Widener is a streaky shooter. If he gets in a rhythm, he can make them pay, and they did that 5 straight, for Jordan Widener.
And took a while for the Coach Moore to call a timeout, but he did, and we'll be back. You're watching Wildcat Basketball on WIW TV 51.
Telesale is coming with a new look and a new date, January 31st through February 2nd, only on WIW TV.
Marion High School's graduation coach is making connections and changing lives.
If someone like me had not been in their lives, no telling what would have happened to them.
I could have just gave up, but I wanted to keep going because I thought education was important.
I'm Stephanie McCracken. Watch Crossroads this week to see the stories behind Marion High's graduation success.
11:39 remaining on the game clock here at Lucky Arena on the campus of Indiana Wesleyan University. The Wildcats on a nice little run right now. They were down by as much as 10 here in this second half, and they are now down only by 3. The Cougars will be inbounding the ball. They had the ball after that last basket and then called the timeout. Another defensive stop, important here for the Wildcats. David Peters all over Taylor. Angel driving around the top of the key now, and unfortunately there's some contact between him and Troyer. And Troyer will be charged with the foul. That's Troyer's first foul, the team third. Wildcats have done a great job here in the second half of not fouling. Shot is missed, tipped around by Semple. He gets it, he moves in and shoots.
Semple again, 16 points now. He's doing a great job at taking the Wildcats out of their game, just a sophomore, but stepping up this afternoon.
6'6" is his height, and he did a nice job there on the inside. Taylor thinking he was getting a steal on that play, and he was unable to, and so now the Wildcats down by 5, inbound the ball to Troyer. Jordan Widener being the spark plug here in the last couple of minutes. He's got the hot hand. Troyer moves to the inside, tries to throw it across over to Vandewater. It's intercepted, and Semple, nice body control. Nice body control. And just like that, we're back to a 7-point deficit. Troyer tries to get it in, not the best pass to Hopkins, rebounded by Peters, who's left alone, and he gets the shot.
Right place, right time for the senior. First 2 points for him. He's really a difference maker there on the defensive end. Sees kind of a chippy foul there.
I think Robbie Taylor knew that he did a good job of acting as he fell. He had a little smile on his face.
Yeah, he's smirking over here to the bench, I think. He's got away with that one.
One would have to say that if he falls that easy.
I don't think he'd be out there. But Peters is a very strong guy, physical guy up top, but still.
No foul called, and play resumes. Zaklebny with the long three-pointer, no good. Nice rebound by Patrick Hopkins. George Jones and Hopkins are back in for the Wildcats. Over to Widener. He's thinking about it, but he decides to put the ball on the floor and move around. Gives it to Vandewater, who does drive. Nice move to the basket. Wow, it's just a shame that ball didn't drop.
He elevated nicely and almost got it to go off glass. Again, Vandewater not hesitating. Again, he has 5 points on the afternoon, hoping to make it 6 and 7, but that's huge when you can insert a freshman into the lineup. Got his feet set. That was pretty nice. He took off from about outside the paint there, so nice little hang time there for the freshman.
That foul was charged by number 22, Austin Semple. That is Semple's second and team 6, so we're one away from the bonus. Semple's going to take a seat on the bench and rest, and Severin's replacing him. A little bit of a height change for the Cougars. Semple 6'6", Severin's just 6 feet. So 3 points is the gap. Wildcats hanging in there. Angel now getting the ball over to Zeltman. Severin's guarded by Jones. Robbie Taylor trying to get through the pick, and in the process loses the ball to Hopkins. Vandewater running down.
Ooh, they do call it intentional.
I'll tell you what, Zaklebny had 3. That is going to be his 4th. And so
See Coach Moore not necessarily agreeing with that. He thought he went for the ball, but you see Vandewater was going up, looked like for the jam, and maybe just a little too physical and wrapping him up, maybe a little more intentional of going after the ball. Looks like he did go after a lot of ball. It's just after the play, it was a lot of contact.
I just think when you've got a breakaway like that and then your arms get wrapped up in the offensive player, you're kind of asking to be called for an intentional foul.
Especially when they leave their feet. It's pretty dangerous midair, but I can see the argument for both sides, but Wildcats will take advantage, and this is the kind of play that can change the momentum for your side.
So Vandewater shooting his second. He misses. He made the first. And now the Wildcats will get to inbound the ball. So we have an opportunity to tie this game, or with the three-point shot, go ahead by 1. And we have not been ahead since about 6 minutes remaining in the first half. So George Jones getting things set up, hands off to Widener. Into Patrick Hopkins, puts the ball down, turnaround, no good. He bats it away. David Peters almost comes up with it. Instead, he gets charged with the foul. That is his 3rd.
Patrick Hopkins going to work down there with Zeltman, who has 4 fouls, so it's a smart play. It just didn't get the bunny to go. And again, another turnover for the Wildcats, but 2-point lead, a little more to work with, especially with Zaklebny on the bench.
So you can see here, David Peters wasn't real happy to be charged or to be called with that foul. He thought he was just going for the ball, which of course I think every player thinks that. So Semple now back in the game. He tosses it to Taylor, over to Angel. Very good ball movement on the part of the Cougars right now. And good defense on the part of the Wildcats. There's nothing open on the inside. 10 seconds remaining on the shot clock. And Semple going to put it down. He pulls up. Widener on him. No good. Rebounded by Jones.
Great defensive set there for the Wildcats. All 35 seconds. Just couldn't get in the rhythm, and that's what happens when you wait around if you're a Cougar.
So once again, an opportunity to tie this game. Vandewater now getting it to Jones. Jones had Semple draped all over him. Widener pulls up. It bounces, no good. Patrick Hopkins got fouled. It'll be interesting to see who they call this foul on.
Should be on number 22, Semple. That'd be his third.
No, they called it on number 23, Matt Angel. That is his second. So Patrick will go to the line to shoot 2. Often we see Patrick shoot 50% from the line. We need him to do 100%. So good way to begin. We can see this play unfolding as Patrick went up. And oh yeah, he was clearly hacked on the arm.
Yeah,
by,
they got the hand instead of the body on Semple, so Angel gets it.
Here's Hopkins' second shot. And he makes it makes both of them, and so this game is now tied 46 apiece. 8:17 remaining in the game. Severns now getting things set up for the Cougars. Once again, we're seeing some very similar defense from the Wildcats, though Taylor's driving, and it's going to be, Taylor is going to be charged with the charge.
Aaron Martin recognizing that Taylor can beat them off the dribble and make some pay. Big momentum swinger there for the Wildcats, and he's definitely outside the circle, yes. Had his feet set, and a good thing because Semple was right there for the easy bucket.
That was really heads-up play on the part of Aaron Martin because the way that whole play unfolded, and he just very quickly drove to the basket, and Martin did a great job of being set. Patrick Hopkins now on the inside. They're not doubling down on him. He gets it out to Martin, who drives, and he's going to be fouled by number 32, Zeltman, and that's going to do it for him. That is his fifth. So the Cougars have got some real problems this afternoon with their big men on the inside. That is the first. Klebny will probably come in, and he's also got 4 fouls. So we'll see. The coach has got a little bit of time to decide what to do.
Just to decide who else can we send at Patrick Hopkins.
And they are bringing in Zaklebny. He's also got 4 fouls. So Zeltman, the junior from Lancaster, Ohio, he is done for the afternoon with 7:39 remaining in this game. Aaron Martin, who's a good shooter, and unfortunately doesn't make that free throw. Opportunity to go ahead, and he makes the second. So at 7:39, we go up by 1. Taylor pressing the ball down court. And he's getting things set for the Cougars. Zaklebny now guarded by Hopkins. He decides to do a turnaround jumper, and it's good. Nice shot.
He has to be careful on the defensive end, though. See if the Wildcats try to pound that inside to Hopkins and make him pay.
Zaklebny is really close on Hopkins, so it seems like a perfect opportunity to just get it into him. But so far, the Wildcats not seeing an opening. Widener driving, and they let him in pretty easily. 49-48, Wildcats. Severns now bringing the ball up for the Cougars. And Taylor comes out now to get things set for the Cougars as they run their offense. Semple, pretty Long three-pointer. Bounced around. Rebound by 23, Angel. He gets fouled. And specifically, he gets fouled by Hopkins. That's Patrick's second foul. Team sixth. So Angel will go to the line and shoot two. And, I was just about to say, and he missed the first, but it got a nice bounce. You can see how this whole play transpired. Patrick just kind of lunging at him, and in so doing, picking up the foul. Angel with 8 points now on the afternoon. And the game is, once again, a 1-point game in favor of Mount Vernon. For the last couple minutes, we've just been going back and forth. Widener almost having some problems there, but he gets rid of it. George hesitates a little bit. Martin, 3 points, no good. That was an awkward possession. Didn't feel like they got into a rhythm at all on that possession.
Not a one-on-one play with George dribbling around the key there, but, Martin's still not able to get in any sort of rhythm, which is disappointing, but, if you're a shooter, you keep on shooting. I think that's what Aaron will do.
Great steal by George Jones. Handing off to Widener, who comes in, and that is going to be it for Zaklebny this afternoon. That'll be his fifth foul.
Huge plays, a huge play in more ways than one there for the Wildcats. Like you said, Mark, fouls out Zaklebny, one of their main playmakers and really a great defender. But Jordan, boy, it's a thing of beauty. He comes up with the right hand and finishes strong, and one. Pumped up is Jordan Widener.
So Jordan Widener is going to get a chance to shoot one and make this a 3-point play and a 2-point advantage. Number 4, Josh Weichert, the 6'5" senior out of Columbiana, Ohio, will come in on the inside. So the 78% free throw shooter Widener, he makes it. Nice 3-point play, and with that, the Wildcats have a 2-point advantage. Semple now guarded closely by Jones. He gets it across half court, and he tosses it into Weichert, who doesn't get the ball to drop. And in the process, Taylor Schoen, who's just come into the game, he gets the foul. That's his first. 7 now team fouls for the Wildcats, so that'll benefit the Cougars as we're into the bonus.
Just seems like the Cougars haven't done a whole lot of fanciness on the offensive end. They've had a lot of fast break points, back and forth. They've slowed it down a couple times, but really they're more of an outside shooting team. Their inside presence hasn't been that great. Here we see a nice unselfish play from Semple, and nearly gets that one to go, but still the Cougars have just kept around in this game in uncharacteristic ways.
The refs right now are having a discussion over whether that was a foul that was committed in the act of shooting or away from the ball. They were initially indicated that it was going to be a one-on-one shot. Coaches for Mount Vernon said, no, he was shooting. So that's what the discussion is over at the moment. And they're taking their time. They are continuing to discuss. Since that foul was called on Schoen, we saw the replay, and I think it was away from the ball, and it looks like that's what the refs have said.
Yeah, if it was on Schoen, it's definitely away from the ball.
Yeah, and that's who they charged it on. So this is just going to be a one-on-one shot. Number 22, Austin Semple. And he misses. Patrick Hopkins comes up with the rebound, gives it off to Widener. And it's still a 2-point advantage on the part of the Wildcats. And Coach Tonigo calls a full timeout with 5:29 remaining. We'll be right back. You're watching Wildcat basketball on WIW TV 51.
Third House Sessions brings constituents and their representatives together for a town hall forum to talk about the state issues that matter most to you. WIWU-TV, along with the Chamber, Indiana Michigan Power, and Farm Bureau Insurance are proud to bring the Grand County community this important local event. Third House Sessions is on all this week on WIWU-TV 51, your community station. 3 nights of live bidding excitement are just around the corner as the Indiana Wesleyan Scholarship Telesale prepares for its annual live event starting at 7 p.m. on January 31st. Telesale and WIWU-TV give you 3 nights to catch the deals of the year. Don't miss 1 minute of the action. The IWU Telesale, January 31st through February 2nd from 7 to 10 p.m. on WIWU-TV.
5:29 remaining in this game. As always, exciting MCC action. Doesn't matter whether it's the first place team or the last place team. These games are exciting, perhaps a bit frustrating.
Yeah. As a fan, as a coach, I can definitely see that. But all 10 teams can compete. This conference has proven to be very tough here at Mid-Central.
Jordan Widener now with the ball, getting things set up for the Wildcats. 20 seconds on the shot clock. And it looks at this point like the Wildcats going to be content to well, now they're working on the inside and dish it off to Vandewater, who has come in. Nice play.
Zach Vandewater showing up huge this afternoon. 10 points. It's got to be one of his highs for the year. Just showing a lot of assertiveness out there. I mean, he's just not hesitating, which, I mean, we've seen that at times from him, but this, I mean, it's really encouraging to see him.
It really is. He has done, every time he's come off the bench, both in the first half here and in the second half, he's provided some spark that the Wildcats have really desperately needed. That foul, by the way, charged to number 23, Matt Angel. Vandewater with his shot. Unfortunately, as with so many of the Wildcats, he misses.
That was Taylor Schoen.
So Schoen comes in just to be the muscle for the free throw, and he does his job. And now Aaron Martin back in. Vandewater going to be tossing it in for the Wildcats. 4-point difference now. Jordan Widener driving around. He sees an open. He kicks it out to George Jones for 3. Little long. And the Cougars come back on offense. And that a nice fast break play for the Cougars with number 22, Semple, doing a nice job of making that basket. And he gets fouled by number 44, Jordan Widener, which is only his second foul.
Looked like Widener was rising high to swat that one away, but just when you thought he was going to do that, Semple sneaks it in the basket for an old-fashioned 3-point play here. 20 points for Semple. You can't say enough for what he's done for this Cougar team this afternoon.
Semple taking off just a little too soon. He had to kind of stretch out his last couple of steps as if he was long jumping or triple jumping or something. But he made the basket. And he, as an 87% free throw shooter, he had no trouble getting that down. So they cut the lead to 1, and the Wildcats are back on offense. Aaron Martin, nice move to the inside. And there's going to be a turnover there on the part of the Wildcats. So just when you think the Wildcats are starting to pull it away, they make a couple of mistakes and let the Cougars stay right around. And what's this going to be? The ball got kicked according to the refs, and so Mt Vernon will get a chance to throw it in a second time. A little bit of full court press shown by the Wildcats. Nothing real serious. They back off. Jones, however, continues to guard Severns closely. And George has seen in Severns an opportunity to get around on that dribble. Bats the ball away. 23 seconds remaining on the shot clock. And so now Robbie Taylor gets that offense all set and ready to go. He kicks it out. Nothing on the inside. Severns had the opening, but Weichert didn't get it to him. Taylor drives, And Angel able to convert. Huntington beating Grace. That's a huge result this afternoon in MCC action.
Maybe we should relay that over the loudspeaker to this Wildcat team, because if they know that, this game will be huge. That would cut the lead to 1. Wildcats would move to 7-5 if they were able to hold on. Well, I guess they're down right now, but able to pull this one out, I should say. And Grace will be 8-4 now. So can't stress enough how big this game is.
Patrick Hopkins fouled by number 4, Josh Weichert. That is Weichert's third. Actually, 4 fouls on Weichert, rather. So Patrick Hopkins going in on him, and he does a little bit of an acting job, but doesn't really sell it well. So Patrick makes his first, and he makes his second. 2 really big free throws there. So the Wildcats are up 1. And Jordan Weiner is going to be called on a foul on that play, and because we're in the bonus, we go to the line with a 1-on-1. That's Widener's third. Widener 11 points on the afternoon. Hopkins also with 11. And then we've got Jones and Vandewater at 10.
Now entering for the Wildcats, number 30, Aaron Martin.
Coach Moore talking to the refs right now about what Patrick Hopkins is doing on the offensive side. He'd love to see a foul called on Hopkins. His argument being that Patrick is not dribbling, but he's making contact first and then dribbling. So we'll see if he's persuasive on the next possession.
You got to give Patrick credit, though. He's battled against a variety of defenders they've thrown at him.
Wildcats have a 1-point advantage, 56-55, with 3:35 remaining. The Cougars keep possession after that free throw miss. Severn's getting the ball inside, and it's blocked. Semple tries to get in, and I think Martin is the one that came up with the block. And now the Wildcats come down with Jordan Widener getting things set. Gets it into Martin. Now here goes Hopkins. He moves right around Josh Weichert, and unfortunately doesn't get the basket, but I think that's going to be it for Weichert.
Yep. Third man down. Throw another one out of the game. Patrick Hopkins has been going through these defenders like crazy here this afternoon.
So there's a timeout that is being called by, or no, not a timeout rather, but just Coach Tonigo calling his team over to the side. You can see this replay as Hopkins goes in. We have seen Patrick, when he has had to go to the free throw line a lot at the end of the game, he's come up big, and we need him to continue to do that here this afternoon. So number 2, Marshall Crum, 6'5", from Cleveland, Ohio. He comes in to replace Weichert. They are on their 4th center here this afternoon in the second half. Hopkins makes his first.
And through it all, Patrick's only picked up 2 fouls. Pretty impressive stuff there from the junior.
And he makes both. So in his last 2 times to the free throw line, he's 4 for 4. Really big baskets. 3-point advantage for the Wildcats, 58-55, going on 3 minutes left in this game. And Angel pulling up. He doesn't get it. Tipped around by Crum. Jordan Widener. Now we got to be careful. That's his 4th foul, and Widener has been pretty big here in the second half. So I would think Coach Tonigo will be putting Widener here on the bench, maybe at least giving him a minute and a half or so to rest before he brings him back in.
10 of Jordan's 11 points coming in the second half, and he said 4 fouls. You got to be careful. Looks like they're going to leave him in there now. Just can't afford to get him out with less than 3 minutes left.
Aaron Martin comes in for Taylor Schoen. Marshall Crum, by the way, made his first shot. And it bounces in and out. Good blocking out on the part of the Wildcats. No one there to rebound for the Cougars, so they come up with it cleanly. George Jones gets it to Widener. Widener looking to drive. He gives it to Vandewater. He looked like he wanted to shoot, but he decides to toss it to Widener. Widener pull up, nice bank shot. And there's a good reason why not to pull him.
That's why you leave him in the game.
2:20 remaining in this game. Severn's now trying to get things set up for the Cougars. Taylor comes back out. Pick set by Crum. Patrick Hopkins, that's why I've got this mismatch because of that pick. And Patrick Hopkins picked up the foul. That's Hopkins' third. It was a good mismatch. Taylor on Hopkins. And so Robbie Taylor, who's only had, now that's his 8th point in the afternoon. He's averaging 16 a game.
Both teams will be shooting 2 from here on out.
And he makes both. And with that, Mount Vernon calls a timeout. 2:09 remaining. We'll be back. You're watching Wildcat Basketball on WIWU TV 51.
I come prepared. I'm going to play tough.
I always play hard.
I never back down. We are in this together. These are my brothers.
This is my family.
Their needs before mine.
I am third. This is IWU.
This is our school. This is our team, our pride.
Our home. It's game time.
We're back in Lucky Arena, 2:09 remaining in this game. Wildcats with a 2-point advantage. The commercial you just saw showed us we're going to be back televised live next Saturday afternoon, but Tuesday night we will be traveling to Huntington, just up the road on Highway 9, as we take on Huntington, who defeated Grace this afternoon. So that should be an incredibly important matchup for us should we win here this afternoon.
First things first right here, though, against the Cougars. If we can secure this, move to 7-5 in the conference.
Jordan Widener bringing the ball up. He dribbles around. He's got a nice open lane. He goes. It's tipped away. No foul, and rebounded by Angel. So Severns tosses it over to Taylor. Taylor guarded by Vandewater. Vandewater doing a nice job. However, he's going to pick up the foul. And at this stretch in the game, we definitely do not want to foul Taylor or even Semple. Right before the break, Taylor went to the line and just with no problem at all, down 2 free throws, and now that makes for the third. We're going to get potentially 4 free throws that will have been made with no points on our side. So Aaron Martin gets it into George Jones. A minute and a half remaining in this game. It is all tied up. We've only had a couple of overtime periods here at home this season. That was early in the season.
Seems like they've all been close, though, haven't they, Mark? They always like to go down to the wire.
Marshall Crum, the fourth center here in the game this afternoon, just picked up his 3rd foul. If we do go into an overtime period, we hope we don't, but Marshall Crum would, with 3 fouls on him, that's pretty tough.
They have proven to be a good overtime team as well. 2 wins early in the season, of course, against Bellevue and then Cornerstone. Those are 2 top 10 teams, so pulled those out. But here in the conference, it's always a different game. You know, bragging rights on the line, kind of. It just in conference, these teams see each other a lot, and they know the little ins and outs of everything. So it's always physical, always grinding out these wins.
Patrick Hopkins doing a great job here down the stretch. That was his 6th free throw made. Robbie Taylor guarded closely by Jones. Ball out to Semple. Semple, we haven't seen him do a whole lot of late. Kind of shut him down. However, he's hanging out on the right-hand side. Taylor drives. He makes the basket, and he gets fouled. So with 55 seconds remaining, there is a chance for a three-point play.
Boy.
Taylor Schoen is charged with that foul. That is only his second. So you can see Robbie Taylor just hanging around and all of a sudden seeing an opening, and then he picks up some traffic. And in the process, Taylor Schoen committing the foul.
Kind of a late whistle there from the referee, but they give him the contact.
And fortunately, that is the first free throw missed here in the last couple minutes by Robbie Taylor. It's all tied up. George Jones setting things up. David Peters now in, back to Jordan Widener, who's had the hot hand here this afternoon. Into Patrick Hopkins, double teamed immediately, and a timeout called by Coach Tonigal with 14 seconds remaining on the shot clock. 34 seconds remaining in the game. That's a full timeout. Coach Tonigal apparently didn't like what he saw in terms of what either Mount Vernon was doing on defense or what we weren't doing on offense.
Triple team there. Angel almost batted that away from Hopkins, but well aware was Coach Tonigal, and hopefully get a better look on this possession. There you see some stats at the bottom of your screen. Wildcats getting to the line 35 times. That's incredible, Mark. But 21, that's 14 missed opportunities.
And shooting 60% from the free throw line is a little below average for them, but better than we have seen some games. You notice the shooting percentage from the field has increased here in the second half. We're up to around 40%.
And the turnovers as well. It's not been quite as sloppy in the second half as
No.
that first. I mean, it was pretty abysmal in that first half. Only 44 points combined, both teams.
Taylor defeating Bethel this afternoon. That's an unusual one. Huntington, of course, we talked about this. They defeated Grace by 4. And Goshen getting beat by St. Francis. So, unless we win, St. Francis comes out of this afternoon looking really good.
Yep. And IW with 14 seconds on the shot clock. The Cougars will have the last shot, depending on what goes on here, if the Wildcats can get a second chance opportunity or not.
That's about a 19-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock, which is plenty of time. Patrick Hopkins, nice inbounds pass, nice shot. Shot clock off, 30 seconds remaining in this game. A 2-point game, 64-62.
Will they hold for the last shot? Peters is a great defender. He's on Severance.
Got to keep an eye on Semple, who has the ball right there because he's a good three-point shooter. Jordan Widener all over him, and then Coach Moore calls a timeout for the Cougars. And so it's a full timeout with 16.7 seconds remaining. We'll take a break. You're watching Wildcat Basketball on WIW TV 51.
Third House Sessions brings constituents and their representatives together for a town hall forum to talk about the state issues that matter most to you. WIW-TV, along with the Chamber, Indiana Michigan Power, and Farm Bureau Insurance are proud to bring the Grand County community this important local event. Third House Sessions is on all this week on WIW-TV 51, your community station.
You're back at Lucky Arena. This is a good one. It's a close one. 64-62 Wildcats. The Cougars now have possession with 16.7 seconds remaining in the game. Chase and I were discussing during the timeout whether they're going to go for 2 or 3. We think they're going to try for 2, tie this thing up, and hopefully pick up the foul to win the game.
We're calling a lot of fouls underneath the basket. I think Robbie Taylor's going to take this for the last shot, hopefully get an and-one opportunity.
We're down to 5 seconds remaining. He drives and shoots, and it drops. No foul, 1.7 seconds remaining in the game.
We talked a bit ago about Robbie Taylor only having a couple points, averaging 16 on this season, but now he's got 15. He's exploded for 7 or 8 points in the last, I think, 2 minutes of play.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know how you defense that because you know that you've been getting called with fouls, and so consequently, if you look back at the replay, you're going to see that he had a pretty easy drive to the basket.
And if you're going to foul, you got to make sure you wrap him up and don't let him get the and one. In that situation, it's just tough. I mean, great defense applied there on Taylor, but still, it almost seemed too easy just because he's such a good player, though, especially on the dribble drive.
The ball did bounce around a little bit. It wasn't necessarily just a nice layup. It kind of bounced around a couple times on the rim before it dropped, but he had a really clean shot and had a really nice drive to the basket.
More importantly, the Wildcats still have almost 2 seconds to work with. Probably a big, long baseball pass. Patrick Hopkins, maybe a dump off to Aaron Martin or Jordan Widener.
Here we see this drive, and Taylor Schoen holding his position.
That was a double time, so it's even faster than he really is. Look at him go.
1.7 seconds remaining. Aaron Martin will be bringing the ball in for the Wildcats. They've got Vandewater and Hopkins down underneath the basket, but of course they're guarded closely. Cougars are going for man-to-man defense. Widener with it. He fires. Is it going to go? No! That was close. It bounced off the backboard and hit the rim and just missed. Kind of reminiscent of, if we talk about D1 basketball, Butler and their championship game in the NCAA tournament. So that was close. We're going to go into overtime, and I think, Chase, the story, what we got to watch for in overtime is the foul trouble that the Cougars have. They've already lost 3 centers this afternoon. And the guy that's in right now, Marshall Crum, number 2, he is there with, my records say he's got 3 fouls. The scoreboard here says only 2. But they're going to keep an eye on him. He's 6'5". He's a freshman. Doesn't have quite the experience when Patrick was on the road in Mount Vernon. 64 all is how it ended in regulation. Patrick Hopkins, 6'7", going up against Marshall Crum, 6'5", in this tip. Jordan Widener for the Wildcats with 4 fouls. We want to keep an eye on him. He's been pretty strong down the stretch. But then Patrick Hopkins has been very big at the free throw line. I think he drained at least 6 shots at the free throw line down here towards the end. Patrick Hopkins, not surprisingly, getting the tip. So the Wildcats will start this overtime. Widener getting things set up, getting the offense running. And he tosses it out to Aaron Martin, who, as we've talked about, just hasn't been able to get it going offensively. George Jones quiet in the second half. And Jordan Widener, nice behind the back dribble and a nice shot to get this game rolling. He's now got 15 on the afternoon.
Really put this team on his back in the second half. Just had 1 point at halftime, but really stepping up as a sophomore.
All right, so let's see what the offensive strategy is. Robbie Taylor scoring a lot of points at the end. David Peters doing a nice job tipping it away, and then they got him tied up. The jump ball and possession goes to Mount Vernon. So Taylor getting ready to bring the ball in with David Peters guarding him. And he gets it into, this is Marshall Crum is in. Nice drive to the basket on the part of Semple. He does not get the basket to drop, but he will be fouled by number 33, Patrick Hopkins, which is 4th.
That's another thing to keep your eye on is Patrick's foul situation. Seems like they're calling a lot of late whistles. Semple got a little bit of contact there, but the far referee, not the referee under the basket, called that one.
Semple just about automatic once he gets to the line. He's now got 23 points on the afternoon. He has had a great afternoon. Jordan Widener bringing the ball up. Game is tied, 66 all. David Peters dribbling around, giving it to Jones. Oh, Jones came close, I think, to walking, but he was in the act of passing, so that was good. Into Patrick Hopkins, mismatch under the basket. He backs Marshall Crum down. Crum's going to get the foul. And let's see what they... That is on Crum. And they're saying that is his third, so that is official. So Patrick Hopkins goes to the line. He'll shoot 2. Oh, and it had a good forward motion and bounced around but didn't quite drop. You can see Hopkins just is, it's a man against a boy in a lot of ways in terms of experience and what he does under the basket. Yep. And Hopkins makes the second. So that'll give the Wildcats a 1-point lead. Ben Severns now getting ready to bring the ball in for the Cougars. He gets to Semple, over to Taylor. David Peters doing a great job on Taylor here. Crum comes out. Taylor showing now on him. Patrick Hopkins getting a rest. Semple behind the back, but he gets tripped up, and they're going to say that I think Taylor's showing. Yep, that's it. He picked up the foul. That is his third. Schoen not getting a lot of playing time here this afternoon. He's been coming in as in those times where he's got to apply some tough defense. And now Semple to shoot 2. You can see Semple coming through, Schoen moving. And I guess they're going to say that foul was on the trip. And again, making both free throws, so the lead has now gone over to the Cougars with 3.5 minutes remaining.
25 points for Semple on the night.
George Jones getting some things set up, dribbling to his left to Widener. He bangs it up there. Doesn't make it drop, but he got fouled. And he got fouled by Marshall Crum. That is his 4th. Oh, no, I guess I thought they said it was on Marshall Crum, but they're saying it was on Semple, which is his 3rd. Jordan Widener missing his first free throw. Yeah, in fact, there it is, Semple underneath the basket and the contact made between those two players. Widener missing both, and at this point in the game, we really can't afford to miss any free throws. Wildcats still down by 1 with 3 minutes remaining. Severns comes out, tosses it back to Taylor, to Angel. And they're resetting their offense, getting things ready to go with 12 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Taylor gets it. David Peters on him. Severns guarded by Jones. 5 seconds on the shot clock. 3 seconds. And he gets it off barely.
Oh, my goodness.
That's an example of where I think we were watching too much the shot clock, and they just let Semple get position and get that ball.
Long shots results in long rebounds, and Cougars right place, right time.
I would have to say if we were to just base this game upon energy and effort, we would have to give this game to Mount Vernon. Unfortunately, the Wildcats have had just way too many moments of just falling asleep. Widener getting things set up. 15 seconds now on the shot clock. He drives the lane. Nice left-handed layup, and he makes it drop. And so Severns now bringing it up. 2 minutes remaining in this game. It's a 1-point game. Patrick Hopkins leaving Crum open momentarily to double-team Taylor. They get it into Crum. He tosses it out to Severance for 3, and he gets it.
Huge shot. The whole bench you see from Mount Vernon up on its feet. Severance, the junior, knocks it down. 13 points for him. More importantly, a 4-point lead for the Cougars.
Patrick Hopkins goes in, and he gets fouled. We have an opportunity for a 3-point play as well. And that is on Marshall Crum. That is his 4th. Here's the replay. Patrick Hopkins does a nice job of just maintaining body control and getting that ball up there. Nice soft touch as he lays it in.
Looks like Crum just got his left hand, which not sure why he's going up with the right, but Patrick Hopkins, that was a huge play because it was a 5-point game. Now cut to 4-point game.
Marshall Crum taking a seat in for the Cougars. Number 15, Landon Israel, freshman guard from Zanesville, Ohio. We've not seen him at all this afternoon. Semple now guarded closely by Schoen. He's pushing Schoen off a little bit. No foul called. And Israel now guarded closely by Vandewater. A big mismatch in terms of height. 19 seconds left in the shot clock. 1:13 remaining in the game. Severance back to Taylor. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Israel out there guarded by Vandewater. He gets it to Taylor, who's driving to the lane. No good. Rebounded by the Wildcats with 56 seconds remaining. David Peters kicks it over to George Jones, who's just going to set it up, and Coach Tonigal is going to call a timeout. 1 point is the game, 72-73. Mount Vernon leading, 52 seconds remaining. It's been a pretty toughly contested game since the second half. You can see the Wildcats have increased their shooting percentage to 48%. But they are down by 1, and the difference is going to really be in the free throw shooting.
Yep, got to connect down the stretch. We've got to the line 39 times, you see there at the bottom of your screen. Like we said, they cleaned the play up in the second half and in this overtime period. It's just the Cougars done a nice job of winding down the shot clock and getting quality shots at the end. And obviously second chance opportunities has kind of been the demise of the Wildcats all afternoon.
It really has. Turnovers have settled down. At halftime, we had a total of 21 turnovers between the two teams, 10 and 11 respectively, Wildcats and Cougars. Only a few more turnovers here in the second half. So the Wildcats, 52 seconds. Wildcats have had some success late in this game of getting the ball inside to Hopkins, in large part because Cougars have had at least 3 centers foul out of this game. Yeah. They're on the verge of a 4th center. Number 2, Marshall Crum, he's back in the game. And David Peters, who's played this entire overtime period, he gets the ball into Jordan Widener. Widener has been playing with 4 fouls since about the 2-minute mark. He gets a free lane, takes it, and makes the basket.
Huge shot there from Jordan Widener. Boy, he has come up huge. 19 points now for the sophomore.
And a little bit of a defensive lap on the part of Mount Vernon by just letting him have the lane. And the Cougars are going to call a timeout. They want a full timeout. 34.3 seconds remaining in this overtime period. It has been quite the afternoon.
They like to keep it entertaining, don't they, Mark?
They do indeed. In fact, really, the second half has been much better basketball than what we saw in the first half. First half was just ugly.
Yep.
But we've played better, made a few mistakes, and have allowed Mount Vernon to just hang around.
It's going to be a 9-second shot clock differential, so 25 seconds to work with for the Cougars, and hopefully some of these fans can get fired up and finish this one out. 1-point advantage for the Wildcats right now, but it's been a fun one this Saturday afternoon.
So the student section getting into it here this afternoon, as they do very well at every home game.
They keep it entertaining too, I think, right?
Yes, they do. I just hope they devote as much energy to their studying as they do to what they do here in the game.
Always.
So for the Wildcats, Aaron Martin, George Jones, Taylor Schoen, David Peters, and Zach Vandewater. Very interesting lineup with 34 seconds remaining. Jones, and Martin, the only two starters in this lineup right now. But I think we've got good defensive guys in there. And the ball is in. There's about an 8-second difference on shot clock to game shot. Marshall Crum out here at the top of the key. Robbie Taylor, close man-to-man coverage on the part of the Wildcats. 19 seconds, they get it to Semple, who shots, air ball, rebound. Actually, that was Angel. Rebound by Semple. Angel gets another chance. 9 seconds remaining. The Wildcats come down by 1, and they take a timeout.
Wow.
Wow is exactly right. 7.1 seconds remaining. The Wildcats are really in a great position now. They'll have 7 seconds, plenty of time to set up their offense, and all they need to do is make 2. And the success we've had late in this game of getting things down inside, you got to figure we're going to drive into the inside.
Yeah.
And I noticed right before they called timeout, Patrick Hopkins set to check back in. So we know that Patrick, with 4 fouls, will be getting ready to come in, and no doubt they'll try to get the ball inside to him.
You got to tip your hat to Matt Angel on the other end for the Cougars. Sophomore comes up with an air ball there, but doesn't get down. Same possession, gets it back and gets the lay-in. 12 points for him on the afternoon, but people have stepped up for the Cougars this afternoon. It's not one single person. If you had to point out one single person, it'd be Austin Semple with 27 points. But look on the Wildcat side, they got their starting lineup in besides Troyer, and you got to think that they got to get it down into Hopkins.
I don't know that we've seen Troyer this entire overtime period, have we?
He might have tweaked his ankle. I'm not sure. Something. You're right. We have not seen him for several minutes.
And he wasn't in foul trouble. He only had 1 foul in the afternoon.
Right. Makes me wonder if it's something injured.
Yeah, David Peters has done a great job on the defensive side. So here it comes into Patrick Hopkins.
Oh, they don't count it.
They're going to call that the foul was before the play, and that's going to put Patrick at the line, shooting 2.
I'm nervous for him, Mark.
Yes.
I am kind of shaking over here myself, but this is a huge pressure situation for Patrick Hopkins.
So with 5.9 seconds, that play hardly took any time off the clock. They just inbounded. Here's the replay. You can see there was clearly contact on the part of Semple. For Semple, that is his 4th foul. He's got 27 points on the afternoon. Patrick's going to leave that short. So now all we can hope for is a tie to go into another overtime period unless we get the rebound.
Regardless, the Cougars will have another shot. Like, you're right, though. If we can get an offensive rebound, that'd be huge.
So here comes a really big free throw. And Patrick makes it. Game is tied. 6 seconds remaining. The Cougars are getting ready to bring the ball in. Man-to-man defense, full court action on the part of the Wildcats. They're getting it, and boy, there for a minute I thought we were trying to foul Semple, which was not a good idea.
Not a fouling situation at all, but they hold on. Double overtime.
And I believe this is the first double overtime period that we've had in this season. So we were tied at 64 at the end of regulation. 22 points later, 11 for both teams. We are tied at 75. So we kind of take a big breath, a sigh, getting ready for another overtime. Foul trouble continues to be something that we're concerned about here, especially now for the Wildcats. We've got 2 of the guys with 4 fouls each, Patrick Hopkins and Jordan Widener. Widener has had 4 fouls since about the 2-minute mark left in regulation, and he's done a great job of continuing to be an offensive force, doing what he needs to on defense and not picking up a foul.
You're right, it's Simple with 4, as well as Marshall Crum with 4 for the Cougars. So a fouling situation when it gets into this double overtime period is going to be a huge factor.
So we're glad that you have chosen to spend part of your Saturday afternoon with us. You watched an ugly first half and a really good second half and a good first overtime period. You can see for the Wildcats, that shooting percentage now up to 49% from the field. At the end of the first half, we were at 32%, so we have just done a great job here in the second half and in the first overtime period of just shooting much, much better.
You got to give credit to Patrick Hopkins as well. Although he missed the first one, he came through, and that's a huge pressure situation. He knocked it down, and that's why we're going to this double overtime period.
And so once again, we will have a jump ball. You can expect us to get the tip. Patrick Hopkins 6'7", Marshall Crum 6'5". And now we're getting set and ready to begin in this second overtime period. Actually, Marshall Crum doing a good job of getting the tip, but he tipped it right to the Wildcats. David Peters drives, kicks it out to Jones. Aaron Martin for 3, just not hitting them this afternoon. That would have been an awfully nice way to begin this overtime period. Double teaming, they're leaving Marshall Crum open. He drives, he kicks it over to Semple, who's wide open. However, I'm afraid that's going to be on Hopkins, and that'll be it for Patrick. So the foul trouble that we were anticipating in the first overtime period didn't really happen now until the second. And so here we are, only 27 seconds in, and that's going to do it for Hopkins.
You just don't see a lot of contact on that. And that's what Patrick's going over to the referee and having a few words with him. But, man.
If any contact, I suppose it could be argued on the body, but in terms of the ball, it looked pretty clean. So Semple, who's just had a phenomenal afternoon, scores his 30th point. So he's having a great afternoon.
Yep. You think that'd be a career high for him? He's certainly shown up here this afternoon.
So instead of us starting the game with a 3-point shot, the Cougars start with a 3-point play, and we are automatically down. Parker Stauffer now in for the Wildcats. He gets fouled, and that's going to do it for Marshall Crum. So
they're dropping like flies, Mark.
They are. That is the 4th Cougar player to foul out here in the game this afternoon. So we're waiting. Coach is trying to figure out. Instead, he brings in number 15, Landon Israel, 5'10".
You have 60 seconds once a player fouls out to substitute another player in, so they're taking a little bit of that time. And you see the height difference with Landon Israel, a freshman 5'10", and Simple is obviously 6'6", so that's a bit of an advantage there for the Wildcats.
Well, Semple has played a great afternoon, so we will take the fact that he fouls out. So Parker Stauffer makes the second free throw, so it is 78-76, 4:16 remaining in the second overtime period. And Wildcats doing what they've been doing most of the afternoon, showing a little bit of full court pressure, nothing real significant. Severn's not starting this afternoon, but he has played most of the second half, started the second half. So Angel now out there, hands back to Taylor. 10 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Taylor drives, not a good shot, off balance, bangs it into the backboard. And the Wildcats come up with it. This is the way the game has been. One team will go up and the other team battles back. Inside of Taylor Schoen. He didn't like the matchup against Angel, so he kicked it back outside. Aaron Martin now on the outside. He gets it to George Jones, who's been quiet. He takes a shot, leaves it short.
So it's a defensive lineup out there, and since there was no dead ball, those players were still out there. So Coach Chonick was not able to substitute back in Jordan Widener.
So Robbie Taylor having some hamstring tightness or something, and he's hobbling around a little bit.
He'll stay out there.
We saw this early in the season. The Wildcats had some cramping problem, but certainly by this time in the season, if they're hydrating, both teams shouldn't run into too many problems. Severn with a three. It rings in and out.
Wow.
Schoen with the rebound. They press up to George Jones, who tosses back to Martin. He's thinking about a three, but because he's missed some, boy, we're hitting some open shots, and we are just not showing a lot of confidence.
David Peters is hesitating just a bit, and like we said, he's a great defensive player, but he needs to pull the trigger when he's called upon.
Widener turnaround jumper. It's good. Game is tied. You know, Chase, the way we've been shooting this afternoon, really, you got to say the only offensive threat we have right now is Jordan Widener, unless somebody gets hot. Cougars call timeout. 2:27 remaining in the second overtime period. We'll take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Wildcat basketball on WIW TV 51.
This week on Crossroads, see why more students are graduating at Marion High School.
We'll get a lesson in smoke detector safety from the Marion Fire Department.
And see how upward basketball is impacting kids. I'm Molly Meyer.
And I'm Randall King. All that and more this week on Crossroads.
Telesale is coming with a new look and a new date, January 31st through February 2nd, only on WIWU TV. Third House Sessions brings constituents and their representatives together for a town hall forum to talk about the state issues that matter most to you. WIWU TV, along with the Chamber, Indiana Michigan Power, and Farm Bureau Insurance are proud to bring the Grand County community this important local event. Third House Sessions is on all this week on WIWU TV 51, your community station.
Welcome back to Lucky Arena here on this Saturday afternoon. We're in a double overtime situation. 2.5 minutes remaining. It's all tied at 78. This has just been a hard-fought contest. There's just been tough defense, mistakes made, outstanding shots, a lot of everything.
We've seen it all here in 2 overtime periods, plus regulation.
So Robbie Taylor battling some hamstring problems, but he's stretched out during the break, and he's back in. Israel back to 6 seconds now on the shot clock. Double team, Taylor Schoen, 3, 2. He launches it, Taylor launches it, no good, and they get it back.
Again, a long rebound. Man, that's just frustrating for the defense when they play 35 seconds worth and get that long rebound.
Angel puts it on the floor. He kicks it back over to Taylor, who now is trying to set things up. George Jones on Severn. Landon Israel coming in here in the later parts of the game. It's a small lineup out on the floor for the Cougars. Jordan Widener stepping in, intercepting. Huge turnover.
Yep.
1:20 remaining in this second overtime period. Jordan Widener now getting things set up for the Wildcats. David Peters dribbling over. Troyer now in the game for the Wildcats. Very small lineup for the Wildcats as well. David Peters kicks out to Widener. He takes a three and rings in and out, but the Wildcats come up with the rebound. 53 seconds remaining in this game, all tied up. Chase, is it possible we may see a third overtime period?
It looks like it's heading that way.
Troyer having an open shot. He pulls up. It goes in and out. Rebound by Troyer, and he gets fouled.
I think there's a lid on that rim, Mark. My goodness. Two great shots from Widener and Troyer, but they just go in and out. So Troyer gets another chance at the free throw line.
Robbie Taylor picks up his 4th foul. So Derek Troyer, who we did not see at all in the first overtime period, and hasn't played for the first 2.5 minutes or 2 minutes or 3 minutes of the second overtime period, now is in. Really important free throw shots. And he makes it. So whatever lid was on that basket is broken now. 39, basically 40 seconds remaining in this second overtime period. Troyer trying to make it a 2-point game, and he does. Shooting with much more confidence on that second shot. In fact, really, the end of this game now is going to come down to confidence. Who's got the confidence to make the shot when they need it? Israel bringing the ball up for the Cougars, guarded by Widener, who's got 4 fouls. Angel kicking it to Taylor. Back out to Severn. 21 seconds now remaining in the game. Taylor dribbling around, 13 seconds left in the shot clock. Severn's guarded closely by Jones. Jones doing a good job staying on him. Severns takes a shot. It bounces around, and Troyer comes up with it.
Oh, they give it back to the Cougars.
Troyer actually had a hand on it, then I think it went to Schoen, who knocked it out of bounds. So, shot clock turned off, 7.5 seconds remaining. The Cougars will, and Schoen almost gets possession again. 6.1 seconds remaining. Nobody's taking timeout at this point, letting the guys play. The ball comes in to Taylor. 5 seconds remaining. He drives, and he misses. And are they going to call a foul? Oh my gosh.
0.9 seconds left, though. So he has to make 2. Wildcats have to box out, but man, great defense by David Peters. He's fouled out now, but man, they just called a lot of fouls going towards the basket. And it seems like if you're driving, they're gonna call it. But I mean, aggressive move by Robbie Taylor. You got to give him credit for that too.
So David Peters fouls out. He has really played his heart out in both overtime periods. So Robbie Taylor under a little bit of pressure. We're down by 2. All he needs to do is miss 1. And now he needs to miss this second shot. Otherwise, we're headed for a third overtime period. I don't think the Wildcats can do a whole lot with 0.9 seconds remaining.
Talk about the senior stepping up. Game on the line. Knocks them both down. Big stuff from Robbie Taylor.
Seems like the NBA made a decision years ago, probably close to 15 years ago, that you couldn't do much with, what did they determine? I thought it was like 1.2, was it 0.7?
Catch and shoot, you mean? I think it's 0.7.
That's all right. So we're at 0.9.
So it's definitely possible. Yeah, so 0.9 it is.
And given the fact that the Cougars have had 5 guys foul out, we now have had 2 foul out, 1 with 4 fouls left, Jordan Widener. We may see the benches clear before this game is over.
It's looking like a pretty skinny bench to begin with right now. We might have to get out to Garvin Hoy, Darian Michael, I think are the only player, and Zach Arrington are the only players that have not entered the game for the Wildcats.
So it's going to be interesting to see. We got to get the ball the full length of the court in 0.9 seconds and get off a shot. Barring a miracle shot, we're going to go into a third overtime period.
Mm-hmm. Although we've seen stranger things here, Mark, haven't we?
Yes,
catch and shoot. Obviously, at this point, looks like Widener's got to inbound, though, so he will not get the shot.
So we've got Martin, Stauffer, Jones, and Troyer out, as well as Aaron Martin. I don't know what they're going to do. They ran that clock too fast.
The game clock operator did not realize that was not inbound yet. So
the ref's going to let that stand?
That can't stand. It never went inbound.
I don't think so. So that's got to go. Yeah, go back to the 0.9. So the Wildcats very quickly talk it over with Coach Tonigal, and they're coming back.
One thing they have to do is get it inbounds, because if they don't, if it goes out of bounds on this pass, the Cougars get the ball right there with no clock going off.
So Aaron Martin steps out. He tosses in. We get a big, long shot, and the ref's calling it off. And what's he saying? We're going to try to figure out what he says. 0.5 right now on the clock. Oh, 9 seconds now. I think we made a little bit of a mistake. Shot clock operator, I think they're going to do it again.
My goodness, shouldn't be this difficult, but a little miscommunication.
Right. 0.9 back, and we're going to get one more attempt here. I'm not sure. Now this time the Wildcats have a totally different set. Everybody is in the front court. Martin tosses it in, baseball style. It gets tipped, and that won't count. That got off after the buzzer went. So,
all that for that.
And in that second overtime period, it was only 5 points were scored on the part of each team. So,
getting a little fatigued.
If we have a trend, we had 11 points scored in the first overtime, 5 in the second. I hate to see what we're going to get here in the third overtime if that trend continues.
I think you and me might have to check in a little bit, Mark. What do you think? You ready? You get your suit up?
I'll let you do it.
Okay.
I think the Wildcats will definitely lose. With me, not with you. Well, let's talk a little bit about what's happening here in the next week and a half for the Wildcats. Tuesday night, they head up just 15 miles up the road to Huntington. And then next Saturday afternoon, it's a home game. We host Spring Arbor. And then immediately following Tuesday evening, the 7th, we have another home game. We're hosting St. Francis. If you're thinking about looking ahead to Valentine's Day, you might want to plan a Valentine's date here at Lucky Arena. We're going to be hosting Taylor. That'll be always, regardless of where we are in the standings, that's always a big game. Place will be packed out. 2 Grant County teams battling it out in MCC action. Taylor actually victorious this afternoon.
Win today,
beating Bethel.
St. Francis. They did beat St. Francis.
Was it St. Francis?
That was today, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no, excuse me, it was Bethel. I was looking at the wrong schedule. I'm sorry, Mark.
Yeah, I thought it was. St. Francis, I know, has won this afternoon. They beat Goshen. Huntington beat Grace.
Mm-hmm.
So it is
tighter than ever.
Just been a wacky MCC afternoon, which really this season has just been, talk about parity. I mean, my gosh, everybody is so closely bunched together. And then here we've got Mount Vernon, which is the last place team, playing us so closely. Parker Stauffer, both guys, Crum and Stauffer, jumped a little too soon, but Stauffer was able to get it, and Troy are now running things for the Wildcats. George Jones in. Jones has been awfully quiet throughout the overtime periods. Jordan Widener, nice bank shot.
Hang time for Widener. He has 23 now, putting this team on his back.
So we start this third overtime period different from the others in that we score right away. Let's hope that bodes well for the rest of this overtime period. Robbie Taylor still in for the Cougars. He's got a number of fouls. Derek Troyer, nice job of stealing. Tossing to Widener, yes!
Heads up play by Derek Troyer, a huge steal, then looked up court, found Jordan Widener.
Just like that, 4-0 we go in this overtime period, and we're up by 4. Robbie Taylor taking a long three-pointer, no good. George Jones coming back. Troyer open, layup, yes!
Count it, huge 6-point lead, unanswered for the Wildcats.
In a minute, 6 seconds, 6-0 on the part of the Wildcats, and the energy is back. Cougars call a timeout, 3:47 remaining in this overtime period. We're going to take a break. You're watching Wildcat basketball on WIW TV 51.
Telesale is coming with a new look and a new date, January 31st through February 2nd, only on WIWU TV.
Marion High School's graduation coach is making connections and changing lives.
If someone like me had not been in their lives, no telling what would have happened to them.
I could have just gave up, but I wanted to keep going because I thought education was important.
I'm Stephanie McCracken. Watch Crossroads this week to see the stories behind Marion High's graduation success.
And we're back, 3:47 remaining in this third overtime period. Wildcats on a 6-0 run to open this period. Have the Cougars reeling a little bit, so let's see what happens on this possession after the timeout. Severn's taking a three-pointer, and he makes it.
Huge from Severns. Puts this lead to one possession.
Huge play. Aaron Martin coming down, tossing it back over to Troyer. Vandewater giving us some great action this afternoon. He's in. Aaron Martin tossing it back to Vandewater. He drives, pulls up, gets back out to George Jones. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Martin for three. And who's it going to go out on? And it's going out on us, so it'll be possession, Mount Vernon. Coach Tonigal not happy with that at all.
Thought it was deflected off of the freshman. Number 15, Israel. He was there, but tough call for the referee.
So now here's an opportunity for Mount Vernon to be right back into this. We had a 6-0 run. They hit a three-pointer. We got nothing on this possession. And Severn's bringing the ball up, guarded closely by Troyer. Israel guarded by Vandewater. Huge height advantage for Vandewater on that matchup. Taylor guarded by Jones. He wants to drive. He's trying, but...
Oh, no.
And they're going to say Vandewater fouled him. Yeah, that foul is called on Vandewater. That is only his third foul. Vandewater 10 points on the afternoon. Jones also with 10, and I got to double check as to where Jones was at the end of the first half. He had 8, and he has scored 2 points basically since the first half. So he's having a rough second half and overtime periods. You can see.
Not really sure who they were calling that on. They called it on Vandewater, but he was behind him and didn't even touch him.
Robbie Taylor got the step on Jones, which opened things up briefly for Taylor. So Taylor going to the free throw line, shooting 2. And he misses the first. I don't know where that miss was at the end of the second overtime period.
Nice.
And he makes the second. It's a 2-point game, 86-84. Wildcats, 2:43 remaining. Troyer now bringing the ball up for the Wildcats. Widener. We don't have the big, we got Parker Stauffer. Widener been the hot hand. He shoots. Last couple of possessions, Wildcats not able to get the basket.
Fans thought it was a walk. Pretty valid argument, but Severns must have kept his pivot foot down.
We're letting the Cougars stay in this game. When you open up with a 6-0 run, you want to put that, you want to put it away. Marshall Crum, not a good shot for him. He misses, and now we come back. 2 minutes remaining. We need a basket on this possession. Parker Stauffer on the inside, and he traveled. He just, he hesitated a little bit, and in so doing, he stutter-stepped. So it's a turnover. Taylor Schoen now coming in for Aaron Martin. That replacement has been happening all afternoon. Taylor Schoen coming in on defense for Martin, and then when they get an opportunity to switch, they switch back. So now the Cougars coming up, less than 2 minutes in this game. In the first minute, 6 seconds, we went on a 6-0 run, haven't scored since then.
Oh, would you look at this, Mark?
Yeah, we'll talk about this in just a minute.
Wow, this is unbelievable.
We'll talk about this when we get a second. Something the Cougars are attempting to do here in just a few minutes. Whether or not they'll get the time to do it 3 seconds left on the shot clock. Taylor launching a big three, no good. There was a clear push off, but no foul call. George Jones driving. He hands it to Troyer. Well, one of the things we want to talk about is that one of the starters, or one of the key, the biggest rebounder, Caleb Williams, has been injured. He just ran off the court, changed clothes, and is now ready to come in the game. He is 6'9". He's got a wrist injury, so I guess they figure that if they need to, he can come in.
If he's on the roster, he's allowed to sub back into this game. And we've watched him. He's right next to us. He's been in street clothes the whole game. Just went back in. Probably the quickest change he's ever done in his life. And he's in. We got a minute 15. They're going to check him in, Mark.
Yeah, and he's not even wearing his. He's wearing street shoes, tennis shoes.
Oh my goodness!
So I don't think he even came prepared with his shoes. But
nope.
he's not in yet.
Triple overtime, call for drastic measures.
3 points. George Jones making his last free throw. That was a huge free throw for him. 1:01 remaining in this game. Israel trying to drive. He pulls it back out. Gets it back to Taylor. Taylor guarded closely by Jones. Taylor drives the lane, and he misses. They're going to call a foul on this. It looks like on Taylor Schoen. It is. That is his fourth.
Man, they've been giving Robbie Taylor the benefit of the doubt every drive to the basket, which, we could sit over here and say that, but he's been aggressive. I'll give him that. Just not, to be honest there was no contact on that one.
And Taylor makes his first shot. Martin now comes back in, getting ready for the offensive side. Schoen sits down. It's a 2-point game, 48 seconds remaining. And Taylor missing his second, rebounded nicely by Martin. Martin telling Troyer, take your time. There's about a 12-second shot clock difference. 38 seconds remaining in this game. Troyer dribbling over to the side. It looks like they're going to take some time off this clock and set it up. 2 points is the difference. 10 seconds now on the shot clock.
Got to go quick.
They need to get this play moving. Troyer to Martin for three. Yes! Oh, what a huge three-pointer! 5-point game. Don't foul, don't foul. Taylor with a three-point, he misses, and I think that's going to do it.
Wow, pour it out.
That is it. Wow. Wow.
I think that's the only thing you can say, Mark. My goodness.
What an ending. Aaron Martin cold all afternoon, and when we most need it, he calmly steps back and drains that three-point shot.
I think he might have been the only calm one in the building. Wow. 5-point victory. I guess we'll take it any way we can get it. 3 overtimes. Like we said, they never checked in Caleb Williams, but they were getting ready to. Here's the final shot.
And our camera gets over. You can see just as Aaron Martin, uncontested, has the time and the presence to be able to drain that three-point shot. Well, when we played the Cougars back at the beginning of December, it ended up a 5-point game. The score was really different, though, 60-55. Here, also 90-85 is the final score for the Wildcats. Really important victory for us this afternoon. One would think when you're playing the last place team in the conference, a team with a losing record, that it ought to be a fairly easy victory, but it wasn't. We had to go to a third overtime period, which Wildcats have not had to do this entire season.
It took 55 minutes to do it, but a win's a win, and that's kind of a heartbreaker for Mt Vernon Nazarene, but hats off to them. They played a heck of a game and really brought it for all 55.
So the